I call this regular meeting of the Carrollton-Farmers Branch ISD Board of Trustees to order at 7 p.m. on November 3rd, 2022. Board members, district staff members, and members of the audience, you're free to join me in standing as Bill Lavelle of the Metrocrest Presbyterian Church provides a message followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Brian Mersch and the Pledge to the Texas Flag led by Sally Derrick.
Let us pray. Sovereign Father, we come together tonight asking humbly for your blessing on our community. We pray for the teachers and staff of the CFB ISD. We pray for the students that you have entrusted to us and for all their families, for the communities of Farmers Branch and Carrollton, for all those who live or work or do business here. We pray, Father, for your blessing on the family of Carrollton Police Officer Stephen Notham, who was killed only a few days ago, keeping his fellow officers safe. We pray for your blessing on all our veterans as we get ready to celebrate Veterans Day in just a week. We ask for your blessing on all those who serve our country or who have served our country, that you would pour out your mercies upon them. And gracious God, we ask for your blessing on this meeting. For each of the members of the trustees, that you would give them great wisdom far beyond themselves, that they might make decisions that would be a blessing to the students and the communities that they serve. We pray in your name. Amen.
I'll pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Just want to welcome everyone here tonight. We are into November. It's the month where we're supposed to have gratitude, and we're thankful to see you all here tonight, and glad that we can have a room full of students and parents and staff and community members. So thank you for being here. As a district, we dedicate all our efforts and resources to our goal of high expectations for all. The board uses this goal to guide all deliberations, decisions, and actions. You will get to see all deliberations, decisions, and actions of the board in open session with the exception of some items which may be discussed in a closed session as stipulated in the Texas Government Code, Section 551, commonly known as Open Meetings Law. These items typically deal with personnel matters, consultation with attorneys, and real estate. For the record, board members present are Tara Arbachik, Sally Derrick, Cassandra Hatfield, Kim Brady, Ileana Garza Rojas, myself, Les Black, and Carolyn Benavides. We constitute a quorum, and we may conduct business on behalf of the district. Before moving on to the next agenda item, I'd like to remind you all that the board will accept comments from citizens of the district and from district employees. Persons who wish to speak during audience for guests must have completed a form for this purpose and placed it in the designated location prior to the opening of the meeting. When the board addresses agenda item number 3, which is audience for guests, you will be invited to the podium to speak to the board. We'll move to agenda item 2 now, which are special recognitions, special presentations and recognitions. So I'll turn it over to Ms. Parnell, to take us through recognitions, Teacher of the 9 weeks, and Employee of the 9 weeks. All right. Are we ready? Look out, we're coming this way.
Good evening, Dr. Black, Mr. Mersch, and members of the board. As we begin our recognitions tonight, we want to ask you to take a look at the beautiful artwork that we have in the front of the room tonight. It's from our talented students at Ranchview High School, and they are super creative, and I hope you'll enjoy this during our break and after the meeting tonight. Tonight, we are excited to announce and congratulate our district-wide commended students. These students placed among the top 50,000 scores of more than 1.5 million students who entered the National Merit Competition by taking the PSAT in October 2021. As you all know, tonight is a busy night across CFB. We have multiple events occurring, and some of our students were unable to be here because of other events, but there are many proud parents here. So some parents are here in the place of their students. So parents, as I call your student's name, we want you to come forward and accept their certificate and medal for them. So we will start off with Creekview High School. Students, as I call your name, please come forward. Graham McCrae. Sage Carter. Anthony Lemus. Audrey Milton. Adam Payton. Ryan Reyes. Emma Rodriguez. From Early College High School, we have Avis Luong. Ranch View High School, we have Aaron Praveen. And Gavin Skorinsky. Smith High School, Suhani Jampala. Carly Cantor. Denise Robinson. Rashi Suryam. Rithvik Bhutakar. From Turner High School, we have David Platt. Brooks Robinson. Sri Suri. Shakar Tadavate. Students, we are so proud of you, and parents, congratulations. Let's give them all a round of applause. Also tonight, we are excited to announce and share with you our teachers and employees of the 9 weeks. So if you'll please join me in watching this brief video.
Dylan Crow, Blaylock Middle School. Doyle Williams, Barbara Bush Middle School. Megan Hall, Field Middle School. Meeson Colkhurst, Long Middle School. Kevin Sullivan, Perry Middle School. Amanda Peeler, Polk Middle School. Ray Kane, Creekview High School. Logan Dunn, Early College High School. Ryan Cisick, Ranch View High School. Quincy Clark, Smith High School. Chris Buchanan, Turner High School. Loden Box, Grimes Education Center. Karen Busby, B. Salazar Center. Dan Lopez, Facilities, Energy Manager. Angie Sewell, Student Nutrition, Field Middle School Cafeteria Manager. Kimberly Matlock, Paraprofessional Clerical, Salazar Attendance Clerk. And Jennifer Pete, Professional Certified Instructional Coach. Congratulations to the teachers and employees of the 9 weeks.
Thank you, and that concludes our recognitions.
Thank you, Ms. Parnell. And congratulations to all the students recognized tonight. And we're extremely proud of you and can't wait to see where you go next. So I understand some of you are getting college offers already. So it's great. Great news. And congratulations to our teachers and employees of the 9 weeks. So we will now move to agenda item 2D, which is district announcements. And Mr. Mersch.
Thank you, Dr. Black. I'd like to give everyone an update on the superintendent search firm process. The request for proposals was open on October 19th, and it closed yesterday on November the 2nd at 10 a.m. We had 6 firms that did apply. Those will be brought back to the board on November 10th, a week from tonight. Those 3 firms will present before the board. The board will deliberate in open session. They will select one of the firms, and then a meeting date will be selected in which the firm and the board will begin the search. Additional information will be released tomorrow, and there are no other announcements.
Thank you, Mr. Mersch. Board members, any questions? Thank you very much. Okay, so we'll move to item 2E, which is our update from our PTA, and I think this is Mr. Zohair Barmal.
Good evening, Board of Trustees, the amazing staff, teachers, and students of CFB ISD. The update from the PTA is we have about 5,012 members, PTA members, as of 31st October. That's pretty good. We have our championship still open. So by pressing a button, you can become members of all the 36 schools or the feeder schools. The second update that we have is the council PTA is arranging a PTA bus on February 27th. That is the PTA Rally Day. So a lot of parents and the student community, they gather at Austin Capitol. And February 27 is the day that Texas PTA is selected as the PTA Rally Day. And the council PTA has approved a bus, and we will open up the RSVP. So there will be about 52 seats, and then we will go from there. So that's something new that has not been tried in the past. So that's something very exciting. And I think that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Barmore. Thank you to everything PTA does. We normally will take a little break this time of the night, but we have a fairly short agenda tonight. So if anybody wants to stay and see us do the whole meeting, you're welcome. But I also want to just take a pause. We're not breaking board. Just to pause to give you an opportunity to gracefully exit if students are here and would like to get out and not stay for the entire meeting. I know some people want to get to the Battle of Josie Lane. So we'll give you a moment to leave if you'd like to. And anybody who's in the back row who wants to come up on the front row now can do that too. No? Nobody? All right. Yeah, a round of applause for one brave soul. Two brave souls. Another hand for all those great students who are here tonight. We are so blessed in this district to have the talent that we do. All right. The candy dish is making its way around. Okay, we will move now to agenda item number 3, which is audience for guests. Persons who wish to speak during audience for guests must have completed a form for this purpose and placed it in the designated location prior to the opening of the meeting. I have, according to what I have here, 3 speakers tonight, 3 people who've requested. Is that correct still? Okay. So before we begin, I'll remind our audience members of the board's procedures for handling audience for guests. Anyone interested to speak in person during audience for guests must have completed the form and listed the topic they wish to discuss prior to the start of the meeting. Each speaker will be allowed to speak once during audience for guests and will be allowed a maximum of 3 minutes to address the board, dictated by board policy BED local. Because the board wants to hear from as many of you as possible while also keeping the meeting running efficiently, groups of more than 5 people who want to present a particular viewpoint on a topic should appoint one person to speak on behalf of the group. Please remember that the board cannot deliberate on any subject that is not included on the agenda for this meeting. Board members will listen to the comments but not respond or answer questions. We ask that you not discuss students who are not your own child. Timer will be shown on the screen in front of you and will begin when you arrive at the microphone to speak. Again, each speaker's presentation is limited to 3 minutes. Okay, so I'll call up our first speaker, which is Stacy Capulan. Okay, Stacy.
Hi, my name is Stacy, and I am a junior at RL Turner. I am here as a voice to represent all female students at my school, and here to talk about the district dress code. As I talk to my friends and hear other girls talk about how the dress code is not fair for girls, you think having a dress code would be better for the learning environment, but in reality, it forces students to waste time by being taken out of class, and it takes us from our learning. We get detention or even suspended for wearing what defines us. I shouldn't be told, you can't wear this, you can't wear that. The students we wear affect our personality, mood, confidence, behavior, attitude, or even the way we interact with others. All our teachers and staff members say, you have to change, and they will give you an oversized t-shirt, as like this one. This one was given to one of my friends at RL Turner for wearing a shirt that was too inappropriate. And will tell you to leave your own shirt that you bought with your own money there at school with them. Having a dress code also makes students feel like they're being punished for their appearances. We also notice rules are strict at the beginning of the school year, and later on it seems like they don't care. Students should wear what they want. Having a dress code affects students' self-esteem at school, and we are all unique in our own way. That's all I wrote. Thank you.
Thank you. Our second speaker tonight is Ms. Dinah Matthews.
Yes, I'm Dinah Matthews. I don't think there is any denying the overwhelming community support based on many emails, nomination forms, and cheers for Coach Matthews' Facebook page for board approval of the Standridge Stadium press box to carry the name, The Voice of Standridge Stadium, Coach John Matthews press box. As I begin my request tonight, I would like to take a moment to gratefully acknowledge the letter sent to you, the trustees, from Maurice Bubba Fife, retired head coach, athletic director, assistant athletic director in CFB ISD, better known as Coach Fife, R.L. Turner High School football coach. It was a touching and comprehensive letter supporting my request. For better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, until death do us part. I will love and honor you all the days of my life. That's why I'm here tonight, to honor my husband, Coach John Matthews, by requesting the name of the Standridge Stadium press box to be officially designated the Voice of Standridge Stadium, Coach John Matthews press box. For better or worse, I am such a better person because of John and the 38 years we spent together. For richer, for poorer, I am so much richer in ways I never imagined before he and I met and married. In sickness and in health, it was sickness that took him, that separated us, that ended his earthly love of family, friends, and the 51 years of excitement, commitment, service, and pride of being a part of the Carrollton-Farmers Branch School District. 1970 to 1974, teacher and coach at R.L. Turner High School. He was 23 years old. 1974 to 1991, teacher, head coach, campus athletic director at DeWitt Perry Junior High. 44 years old. 1991 to 1998, assistant principal at R.L. Turner High School, 51 years old. 1998 to 2007, senior assistant principal at Creekview High School, 60 years old. 2007 to 2010, athletic administrative assistant, Carrollton-Farmers Branch Athletic Department, 63 years old. 2010 to 2012, substitute teacher at Carrollton-Farmers Branch ISD.
Ms. Matthews, I'm sorry. Your time has expired. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Our third speaker tonight is Zohair Barmal.
Well, I'm back again. But I removed the badge. So I don't have any kids in the district, but I do remember that when my kids were going to elementary school, there was always that struggle for lunchtime. So we used to send the lunch because there was not enough lunchtime, the lines were big. And then one of the parents in the council PTA, I saw a Facebook post, and she was like, there's just so much time been spent in the lunch lines that there is not enough time, and then the whole food is wasted. So I'm presenting the problem, and I'm sure you all can figure it out. I think we need to revisit how many schools and why the kids are spending so much time. So right from the time when the recess begins and the recess ends, how much time is actually available to the kids to eat food? So you know, when my experience was that was 10 years ago, and now 10 years later, we are talking about the same issue. So maybe this is something that affects everybody, but just nobody talks about it. So I'm just presenting the problem to the board, and maybe you can observe, and maybe you can get the data, and then you can figure out the solution. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks to all our speakers tonight. We appreciate you being here and sharing your thoughts with us. We will move to agenda item 4, which is non-action items for discussion. 4A is our bilingual and ESL report. This is Ms. Perez, Director of Secondary Bilingual and ESL.
My glasses are not working today for some reason. Sorry. Good evening, Dr. Black, Mr. Mersch, members of the board, colleagues, and everybody in attendance. My name is Maria Carolina Christensen, and I'm the Director of Elementary Bilingual ESL. Today, we want to report on the academic progress of our emerging bilinguals, formerly named English learners. Our culture as professional learning communities is key for the continuous improvement of our students, of our craft for the benefit of all students, and is a critical piece when we think of our emerging bilinguals. Solid Tier 1 instruction that incorporates pedagogical moves to support language acquisition, a culture of equity where the contributions of every individual enriches our collective experiences. Detailed data analysis focus on the needs of each student. Feedback on best practices in shelter instruction for teachers and multi-tier systems of support, a safety net for emerging bilinguals are weaved into the fabric of who we are as a district as we serve our diverse population, and in specific, our emerging bilinguals. As the 5 that drive graphic representation depicts, all these pillars rest on the strong foundation of our interdepartmental support for every scholar and teacher in the district.
Good evening. I'm Olivia Perez, the Secondary Director for Bilingual ESL. And a little background on our program. In our district, we currently have 9,504 emergent bilinguals. This is roughly 38% of our student body, which means more than 1 in 3 of our students are emergent bilinguals. You can see our history of our newcomers in our district. In 2020, we had 290 students. 2021-22, we ended the year on 837 students. And as a comparison, in 22-23, we're currently at 631 students. At this time last year, we had 500 newcomers.
In our presentation in March, we made predictions on STAR performance based on winter map results. And now we are able to present you with the actual results from 2022 STAR results, exams. In this chart, we show an example of the analysis we conducted for every grade 3rd through 8th for reading and math. The performance gains for emerging bilinguals shown on the right of the table outpaced the gains in performance for all students. It is important to keep in mind that our emerging bilinguals benefit greatly from the collaboration with their peers and systems in place that enhance language development that were not as accessible during the pandemic. In the following chart, the following 2 charts, we summarize the information comparing the performance of our emerging bilinguals in 21 and 22. So you can see here in the elementary chart that we had significant gains across and in some areas even higher than 20%. In our middle school chart, we can see the same trend we saw in the elementary chart.
where it is important to notice that for some of our emergent bilinguals, 6th grade is the first time they are assessed in English, including our newcomers.
This year, we have implemented many initiatives in order to support our students. One of those instructional initiatives begin with night school. All of our emergent bilinguals are able to attend night school and take any of the English courses that they are in need of at no cost to them. Our Saturday tutoring that we offer we offer series each semester. So each semester we offer a series of 3 Saturday tutorings. This is to assist students not only in gaining some of their credits if they're behind in night school, if they're behind and need some homework help, and also assisting students needing assistance with their EOC testing. We also offer some middle school Saturday tutoring called English Academic Boost, and so they come in on Saturdays, are newcomers, and they're receiving some academic English, so working with vocabulary, working with vocabulary in their own language, and raising their academics in those areas. Imagine Learning is a program offered online for our newcomers that helps with building the English language base, and this is available for students anywhere where there is Wi-Fi available. We have our grad team committees that we collaborate with the counseling department with, and just as an example of some of our collaboration with this committee, we had a student that did not speak English that had not returned to school this year. She was a senior. We were able to make contact with her, visit the home, and speaking in their own language, assist the mother in filling out all the registration papers. The student did relay to us that she was just embarrassed to walk back into school. People from our department walked with her from her home to the campus where the personnel was waiting for them at the door, helped them do the registration, and we were able to get her back into school. So that's an example of some of the work that we're doing in collaboration with counseling. Our educator support around professional development is very precise, honing in on skills for teachers needed to know how to move students to that next place, not just in academics, but also in their language development. We're offering also sheltered instruction training through Sidelets, a company, and so we're doing a 3-year approach where we're saturating the district with everything so that we're all speaking the same language, so we're all using the same strategies, and really implementing this to make a district-wide effect. Interdepartmental support includes initiatives such as working closely with the math department to deliver PD that focuses not just on math, but how to make the strategic moves to move language with the math as well. Educator exam preparation. This year, just this fall, we have offered 6 different opportunities for teachers to become ESL certified and 4 different opportunities to prep them for bilingual certification. Our community engagement involves parent meetings where we offer parents meetings that are kind of set up conference style, and so parents are able to come in and out of different sessions that are offered at different levels for elementary, middle, and high on helping your student at school, learning how to read a report card, different situations like this where we're also able to give students books to take home to their homes. We also offer community resources, partnering with the counseling department in first language support for our parents, giving them information about everything that's available in our communities. Another example of our community engagement is we're currently able to offer ESL classes to our CFB staff. We currently have 38 CFB staff members taking ESL courses Tuesday and Thursday evenings, and this will continue throughout the year. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to share with you a little bit of what we do.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Board members, do you have questions? I'll start with Ms. Benavides.
I wanted to ask, thank you, Olivia, how do we compare numbers across the region or state?
So numbers, in terms of the number of emergent bilinguals, The state in 21 reported 21% of emerging bilinguals statewide. The region reported 25%. At that time, which was 2021, we reported 33%. Since then to now, we have increased in 6%, so we're right now sitting at 39%. The data from the state and the region has not been released yet in the TAPER report. Should come out very soon, and then we will have final numbers, but we are way above the state. And when it comes to performance, what we did, we filter how the emerging bilinguals are doing at the state level and how they're doing in Carrollton-Farmers branch. In Spanish reading, we are above the state, and in some cases, 10 points above in our meets and masters. And that is for Spanish reading. When we talk about English reading, thinking that our fifth graders in elementary, many of them who have been in the bilingual program, is the first time they test in English, because we know in sixth grade they will continue to be testing in English. We have third, fifth, seventh, and eighth. We perform above the state or around the same level as the state. And in math, for third, fourth, and eighth grade, we were an average of 5 points higher than the state. So our emerging bilinguals are doing better than the emerging bilinguals statewide, even though we have more students, which means that the work that we're doing preparing our teachers and the work that teachers are doing in working with students in that passion is showing big time when it comes to assessment.
Thank you.
Ms. Derrick.
I want to thank y'all for your hard work, because this is not easy work by any means, and y'all are seeing great results, which is very exciting. I'm just going to ask for clarification on the terms, because I know those have changed over the past year, and I know we talked about it in the spring, but just for the public's knowledge, we are now referring to students that we previously referred to as ESL as emergent bilingual. Is that correct?
That is correct. So what we have seen, and we are grateful because Texas is one of the first ones to do this, is that we're looking at our students from the asset point of view. So this is what they're bringing to the table. That's why we call them emergent bilinguals, because we're honoring their home language. In other states, they're calling them multilingual learners. The federal government is moving towards that naming, because it honors what the student is bringing to the table. The ESL or English language learner was looking at the student from the point of a deficit. What is the student not having? So it's a shift, and it's the same shift that we're doing in our department about looking especially our newcomers from that point of an asset and not a deficit. And with that small shift, which is not small, it's very big because it's a shift in mindset, we have seen how teachers are approaching our students in a new light. So it's really exciting to see that.
That's great. Will you also explain newcomers? Can you define newcomers?
Yes. So we in the district call newcomers or those students who have been in the district for less than a year. The state of Texas doesn't have the newcomer label as it. They have immigrants, which is the first 3 years in the country. However, when they are in the first year, which is when we call them newcomers, they have certain, I will say, like a chance, like a buffer, where their scores in the state assessments are not considered inside the accountability system the first year. It counts the second year. But the first year, they're not, because we're trying to see them from the point of view of growth, not so much from what they have come with from their countries of origin. So we are being held accountable for our teaching and how much they have taken that and how much they have learned. So that's why we do it on the second year, not we, the state of Texas does it in the second year. So when we talk about newcomers, we're talking about kids that will enter the school any time of the year. We usually have two big times, like around August, September, and then another big wave, usually in January, of newcomers. And they come from different countries. We have had the biggest newcomers group right now is from Venezuela. And we have, and the smallest group of newcomers is a girl from Turkey that arrived a week ago. So we have different groups and different cultures, and we take them and we nurture them and we take care of them.
Okay. Any questions from this side? Yes, Ms. Garza Rojas.
I think it works. Oh. Thank you guys for everything. I see how much you pour your heart into this, and we appreciate you so much. I have two questions for you. One is, what supports for newcomers are in place? And then how can we support you as trustees?
We have many supports in place for our newcomers. We have at the middle school, and this will kind of tie in together, at the middle school level, Board of Trustees approved some paraprofessional positions that are able to come into the classrooms, push in to assist with students and help with some of the paperwork, relieving that paperwork off of the professional staff and the teachers. So that's one way. At the middle school, we have a newcomer-specific classroom for students, and we're able to also push in with support as needed. Because, for example, if in October you have a newcomer come in to the newcomer class, the other class is already a little ahead, so we're able to push in support. We're able to offer Imagine Learning, which also Board of Trustees approved, and the Imagine Learning is available for them anywhere where there's Wi-Fi. So that offers support for students that they can work on their own. We have at the high school level, immediately most of our newcomers are put either onto grad team or assigned to counselors that take a really fine-tooth look at their transcript and how to offer some of that support. So they're offered some of the night school. We have all of our teachers are receiving very specific PD and how to assist students in different areas, linguistically, affectively, and academically. So Board of Trustees also has helped in approving some of these items and honoring our time and really trusting us when we bring things forward.
And when we talk about elementary, we also have some paraprofessional positions that were approved. This paraprofessionals also push in or pull small groups, because sometimes we have to just take them out for a little bit and teach them the basics, the colors, the numbers, how to go to the restroom, things like that. It seems basic, but it's life-saving. And we also have very specific PD for newcomers, for teachers of newcomers. During the PD day of October 7th, we partner, my department partner up with math, and we offer a whole afternoon session on supports for newcomers. It was super well attended. The teachers felt well supported, because one of the things that they always ask is, how am I going to grade this child? How do I know where they are? And some speak Spanish, but some don't. So how do we support our students? And the teachers learn strategies on how to deliver instruction, how to support instruction, and how to assess instruction. So that was really, really powerful. We continue to work with our paraprofessionals. I know that you have supported us, especially with the pay scale. We still need a little bit of a push there because they have a lot of responsibility and they work really, really hard with our newcomers. Thank you.
Any other questions? Ms. Hatfield?
Thank you for the presentation. kind of looking back at your presentation on slide 3 when we talked about the 38% of the student body, can you clarify? I understand newcomers because we talked about that's the first year, and then the term emergent bilinguals, that being the 9,504. Does that label per se, how long does that stay with them? What's that trajectory there?
So students are considered emergent bilinguals until they meet the qualifications to reclassify or kind of exit the program.
Okay.
So that includes scoring advanced high on all 4 areas of TELPAS. So speaking, reading, writing, and listening. They have to score advanced high in all of those and pass their language arts STAR or EOC. Once they achieve those criteria, an LPAC committee will then look at that information and deem them language proficient, and they would be reclassified as no longer emergent bilinguals. We would continue to monitor them to ensure their success in the regular ed classroom for a few years. However, they would exit and no longer be classified on the teams as emergent bilinguals.
So essentially that is our goal, is to help them move from emergent bilingual
Yes.
and release that support, the next level of support for monitoring.
Yes.
Okay. Another question you mentioned on slide 8 about the preparation and ESL certification prep. Do we pay for the certification test?
We do. Well, we have incentivized it in a different way. We pay for the substitute for the teacher to go to the preparation exam, and then we pay for the substitute when they go take their exam. And then if they complete that process by the middle of October, they receive a $350 one-time stipend that would cover the test, the mileage, and a little extra for the studying. If they achieve their bilingual exam, it's $750. If they do it after the October date, and that is just tied in to a report that we send to the state with how many teachers are still needing to be certified. If they do it after that October date, they will only be reimbursed the cost of the test. We do not reimburse the cost to put it onto their certificate. We reimburse the cost of the test.
Okay, great, thank you. And one final question is about dyslexia with emergent bilinguals. How are we supporting those special populations in, as they're emerging?
So we have a program that's called Esperanza, which is very similar to MTA, which is the multi-sensory something system. I'm sorry, it just blanked out. But it's the program that we use for English. We have a similar program called Esperanza. Every single one of our bilingual dyslexia interventionists have been trained on Esperanza. We usually take care of that in our department. And now in partnership with Dr. Wright, we are supporting our dyslexia interventionists who are bilingual. In addition to that, we are exploring, we sent 4 people to training also on a transitional program to transition from Esperanza to MTA, because we know the students are going to need that language support when they go from one language to another. The beauty of Spanish is that it's almost transparent. There's just a few exceptions where the letters don't sound or make a different sound. Just a very, very few exceptions. So when we start the intervention for dyslexia in Spanish, we see that the students are able to progress in a faster place. Therefore, the Esperanza program is much shorter than MTA. But Esperanza has also a component on fluency and comprehension, because what suffers most for students with dyslexia and their Spanish is their first language is that fluency. And we know that fluency is the bridge between decoding and comprehension. So if we don't have that connection, then the students become really good decoders, slow decoders, because we slow down a little bit, but we have to enhance that comprehension and give them the tools to get there. So yes, we have a system in place, and we're full steam with that.
Thank you so much for the information, and also kudos to the parent ed department. I was at a presentation at the district yesterday, and offering it in English and Spanish I think is very powerful and very helpful, because I learned a lot as a parent, and so I want to make sure we have access for all parents. So thank you.
Any other questions? Oh, Ms. Benavides.
Going back to the one student from Turkey, what type of support is there for that child? And are there other students in the program from Turkey?
So she is a student at Rainwater. I don't know if I should have said that, but I already said it. Sorry. We have a paraprofessional that works with newcomers, specifically at Rainwater. We get a very diverse population in Rainwater. We had another family from another Middle East country as well there. So they receive a one-on-one. They also have access to Imagine Learning. Imagine Learning is available from kinder to 12th grade. And it's a lot of fun. It's a fun program that immerses the child in language and language arts and reading and all those things. So this student in particular will have access to that once we have completed all her required LPAC information, which is the Language Proficiency Action Committee. Once they have finished all that, they get in the system and they have access to all our resources. Now, the paraprofessional that helps this girl is already working with her. So, yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else? Okay, Ms. Christensen, Ms. Perez, thank you very much for your presentation. Lots of information, and thank you and your team for the work that you do for those almost 10,000 kids out there and families. Okay, we're going to move to agenda item 4B now, which is 5 That Drive, and the PLC report, and this is Dr. West, I believe.
Dr. Black, Mr. Merce, trustees, and colleagues, thank you for the opportunity to update you on the 5 That Drive, and more specifically, our Professional Learning Community Foundation. Note that I titled this presentation, PLC is PL-We. The title is very important as it highlights that our professional learning community involves the contributions of many. Oftentimes you hear PLC referred to as if it were a meeting. In CFB ISD, PLC is our intentional way to keep a laser focus on 4 guiding questions. What do we want our students to know and be able to do? How will we know if they are successful? What will we do if they aren't? And how do we extend opportunities when they are successful? As a professional learning community, we value an ongoing process where educators work collaboratively in reoccurring cycles of collective inquiry and action research. Professional learning communities operate under the assumption that the key to improved learning for students is continuous, job-embedded learning for educators. The learning targets for tonight are knowing that PLC is the work of we. I will highlight several examples of the work of others in this presentation, and you will hear me emphasize we. There are 3 big ideas of a professional learning community. Together, we focus on learning, we collaborate, and we are collectively responsible for the results. Note that the light bulbs next to each of the 3 big ideas of a professional learning community. When you see them again, you'll know that I'm sharing work examples in this area from across our district. The first big idea of a professional learning community is a focus on learning. We focus on learning at high levels for all. We are charged to do this work in our mission statement. Our charge is for scholars in CFB to acquire lifelong knowledge, skills, and values that prepare them to compete in the world marketplace while contributing to their community. We believe, and we are centered around our collective responsibility to achieve this result. The second big idea of a professional learning community highlights the way we work. CFB staff organizes into meaningful collaborative teams with a collective responsibility to support student learning. These teams work interdependently to achieve shared goals for which members hold themselves mutually accountable. One example of collaboration and collective responsibility was the creation of our Leading and Learning Framework. Directors, Tracy Smith, and others defined and codified expectations in language arts, language development, math, science, social studies. Leaders across the district are able to use this framework to support best practices in all of our classrooms. This picture comes from work that Lance Hamlin and Tracy Smith led in collaboration with Teaching and Learning and Student Services. Participants were asked to record what they would see and hear if all students were achieving at high levels. When their words were turned into a word art picture, we all noticed and noted that PLC was the sun. Part of collaboration and collective responsibility requires teams to define what they are committed to. This is an example of collective commitments the TNL and Student Services teams started with to create their collective commitments. I took this picture at Central Elementary School. I am sharing it because it's an authentic example of a PLC collective agreements posted in a room where teachers meet to collaborate. The third big idea of a PLC is that members realize that all of their efforts on a focus on learning, collaboration, collective responsibility must be assessed on the basis of results rather than intentions. This slide was used at the beginning of this year when we met with new team members in CFB ISD. We wanted all of them to know that one way our CFB motto of high expectations for all manifests itself is in results towards moving our students to meets and masters on STAR and in EOC, and also in ensuring our students have certifications and credentials necessary to be college, career, military ready. Trustees, you notice and recognize these also as your House Bill 3 board goals. Additionally, our district improvement planning process is another important building block to ensure that we are results-oriented. This slide was used in a recent collaboration where teams reviewed goals, rated progress, and discussed data. You have other examples of additional PLWE examples or bright spots in front of you in the folder that is kind of a lilac color. You'll see a rubric that a collaborative team built to help our campuses assess their progress. There are 2 excellent newsletters from Bush Middle School that highlight PLC work at their school. You'll see our assessment and accountability team's template that provided focus at data meetings held with every CFB ISD campus leadership team this year. In CFB, we recognize that we have gaps in outcomes for our students. Our motto of high expectations for all reminds us that as a professional learning community, our work isn't done until we remove barriers for all who enter our doors. I realized while building this presentation that there are many different configurations of PLC work that couldn't all be highlighted tonight. We have 35 campuses, each focusing on students by name and by need. My colleagues sitting across from me lead departments, each supporting students or principals or others in professional learning. As stated earlier, PLC isn't a meeting. It's an ongoing process. It's educators working collaboratively. It's collective inquiry and action. It is job-embedded learning. And the 5 that drive remains our touchstone for focusing on the work that we do together to impact student outcomes. I'm honored to be a part of one big family, one big professional learning community, a place where the success of our students is a top priority. My colleagues and I value the support that you as trustees provide through the governance of our district. We appreciate your approval of the funds necessary to continue the 5 that drive focused professional development that we do each and every year. Please enjoy this video created to capture the essence of what being a PLC means for principals, for teachers, and ultimately for our students.
Well, I think a professional learning communities is the main focus is supporting our scholars and really focusing on what each of our students need to be successful. And then also we use that time for our staff members to get together, collaborate, learn from each other, and really move the work forward as a campus for what we need.
We look at each student and we decide what is it that the student's area of growth needs to be in, and we focus specifically on that. We're driven around what we call win time is what I need, and it's really time focused straight to the student's need, whether it's gaps in their learning or accelerated learning.
We only have to walk right next door and we're able to see some really great strategies that we've been just putting our time and effort into since the beginning of the year. Lots of PLC coalition initiatives that we're able to strategize with, and just coming back into the professional learning community and being able to just get that instant feedback and that instant development just all under the roof is how we are here doing it at Long.
The professional learning communities at Creekview High School is one of our strong points for our teachers. Not only is it a place for them to gather, to talk about students, and to really find out how best they learn, it also helps them prepare for them to learn the best way that they can. So professional learning communities is great for our teachers because it helps our students. It's also one of the foundational pieces because it really helps our kids with the Tier 1 instruction. And we all know Tier 1 instruction is where it's at.
We really focus on the 3 tiers for instruction, and the most important tier is that Tier 1 instruction and making sure our teachers are equipped with all the tools and everything, all the strategies needed for quality Tier 1 instruction. But we know that we will have students that do need Tier 2 instruction where we get the small group interventions and we really put in place the plan for the students to be able to get what they need.
If they need to go to a 2nd or 3rd tier, the professional learning communities helps them prepare to meet the needs of the students, of course, name and need.
We spend a lot of time on goal setting. Our students set goals and our teachers set goals. Students also track their goals, and we have celebration stations all around the campus to celebrate when students achieve them. We track all students also in PLCs to see if their data is growing. Students know where they're at and they know what they need to do to continue to move forward in their own learning, and then teachers help them on that plan.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. West. Board members, do we have questions? Wait time. I see no questions, or don't see any hands raised. So thank you very much for that presentation, Dr. West, and for the video. It was very informative, and we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. We will move now to agenda item number 5, which is our consent agenda. The consent agenda is a mechanism that the board uses to approve a number of routine items together with a single vote. In compliance with Texas Open Meetings Act, the public notice for this meeting includes the list of all consent agenda items, and the board has been provided ample information about these items in advance. Prior to any action taken on the consent agenda, board members may request withdrawal of individual items for clarification or discussion. Board members, are there any items to be removed from the consent agenda at this time? Okay, I see none. So hearing none and seeing numbers, board members, do I have a motion regarding the consent agenda? Ms. Derrick?
I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
I have a motion from Ms. Derrick. Is there a second? I have a second from Ms. Brady. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please raise their hand. All opposed? So by a vote of 7 in favor and 0 opposed, the motion carries. The consent agenda is approved. We will move now to agenda item number 6, which are our items for discussion and or action. And the first item is anything that's removed from the consent agenda, 6A. So we didn't have that, so we'll go to 6B. We will consider and approve the annual renewal of antivirus and anti-malware licenses for technology. Mr. Monroe, I believe this is you, sir. You're way ahead of me, aren't you? Already up there.
There we go. Thank you, Dr. Back, Mr. Morris, members of the board. Wanted to take a purchasing item, but also use the opportunity to talk a little bit just about the threat landscape that's facing K-12 school districts right now across the country, as well as one of the many things that we're doing to try and keep the district as safe as we can. I saw an interesting piece of research as I was looking through this, and it's a little bit dated as it's from the beginning of last school year. But in August and September of 2021, the FBI reported that if you think about all of the corporations, healthcare, government organizations, universities, all these organizations across the country, 57% of the incidents of ransomware that the FBI investigated during that 2-month period of time were in public K-12 school districts, right? And that, which is a just hugely disproportionate amount. And so really that speaks to several things. One, a lot of malactors across the world viewing schools potentially as soft targets, knowing that sometimes the resources and budgets and things may not be where a corporation is in terms of just all of their human assets, as well as some of the systems that they may be implementing. It's a very, unfortunately, our students are very high value data for identity theft. They love to get minors' information because then they can store that, wait till they turn 18 and start applying for loans, start applying for things in their names. They're not watching their credit as closely. And so it's getting information, especially from like 16, 17-year-olds, is a really, really prime target that they go after. A lot of districts, because of the threats of confidential student information being made public and posted on websites and the impact on the community, a lot of school systems have paid large ransoms, which continues to kind of propagate that as a target, right? And so that's some of the reasons that obviously that we're very concerned, and a lot of our peers have unfortunately been in the news. Districts, some small districts, all the way to the size of LA Unified recently was the hit of a major breach and a major ransomware attack, as well have several DFW area districts in the last year. And a lot of those attacks start with gaining access to just one computer and then spreading, and once they get access and control of a computer on the network, to begin to look for targets and servers and other things they can lock up, which is why individual computers is one of the things we need to protect. In 2019, the district, early in the spring of 2019, I believe, before I got here, but the district did have a virus attack, was currently using kind of a standard built-in protection from Microsoft for antivirus and those type protections. Did get an attack that started with a computer lab and spread and took out most of the computers in the district, and the company Cylance was hired to come in and do an incident response, and a lot of money was spent to clear off all of that and move to a new product, the product that we're asking to renew tonight. And so it's referred to as sort of an endpoint detection and response, and it's kind of one of the new breed of more advanced systems. If you think of the traditional antivirus that we've put on computers for years, they kind of rely on a list of bad things they're looking for, right? And it constantly scans and looks for anything that matches these signatures and tells you have a problem. Turns out in that particular instance the district had, they had actually been doing that for some time, and some of the users were just saying ignore, and not reporting that this pop-up was saying, you know, you've got something with your computer. And so the new modern platforms do quite a few things differently, one of which is they don't really rely on those signatures. They have artificial intelligence built in, systems called heuristics, that look for pattern detection. So they look at the way a computer is trying to behave and realize this is something that's not normal activity. Then they automatically, through rule scripts, to shut that activity down, keep it contained, and then automatically notify IT staff that this is going on. So that really makes it a much more automated response to contain the threat, as well as it minimizes that zero-day threat where new things hit the internet before the companies have added those signatures to their products and things, and those are called zero-day threats. And when you're watching the behavior of the computer instead of relying on a list of things you're looking for, it's much more likely to catch new things as they come out. So that's why we're asking to kind of continue purchasing what is one of the state-of-the-art platforms on the market to protect ourselves. And if there's any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Monroe. Are there questions from members of the board? None? Ms. Derrick.
I'll just make a quick comment that I appreciate the presentation because this is something that just kind of happens in the background that I don't think a lot of people realize or think about until you have to think about it. So I think it's good for the public to know that we are taking steps to protect the resources that we are spending tax dollars on.
We are, and we think about it a lot, almost every day, unfortunately, because the
well, maybe
the
I
threat,
don't,
right?
but maybe you do.
Yeah, no,
we would
it
hope
is,
you do.
It is true, and there are a lot of other layers that are going into place, some of which I would probably only want to discuss outside of probably just because knowing some of the things we're putting in place right now and continue to monitor the network with gives somebody potentially a vulnerability to try and attack. But this is one of probably about 4 or 5 new things we've implemented in just the last year and a half to both try to prevent as well as a lot of now is going into trying to speed up recovery and minimize the impact if we were to get hit with something. Because the reality is even if you throw everything at it, there is always that chance. The malactors are very, very good at this, and it's an amazing industry. You don't realize there's literally companies that make a living just off of selling the software kits to do ransomware. It's an entire black market that goes on, and so they're just as talented as the people making the systems to stop it, and it's an ongoing battle.
Okay. Do I have a motion regarding this agenda item? Go ahead, Ms. Derrick.
I move that we approve item 6B, the annual renewal of the antivirus and anti-malware licensing for technology Cyclance as presented.
Okay, we have a motion from Ms. Derrick. Is there a second? Ms. Garza Rojas, seconds. Is there any further discussion? So all those in favor of the motion, please raise their hand. All opposed? By a vote of 7 in favor and 0 opposed, the motion carries. Thank you very much. That brings us to agenda item number 7, comments from board members regarding posted agenda items. Board members, do you have any comments you wish to make at this time related to anything on tonight's posted agenda? Again, wait time. Okay. Well, thank you very much. Hearing none and seeing no comments, we will move to agenda item 8. Oh, I'm sorry.
I didn't know.
Ms. Benavides.
I just want to say in the spirit of Thanksgiving that I'm so thankful for their admin and everyone here for all your extra work that you do for us, late nights, early mornings, and happy Thanksgiving.
Well said. Anyone else? Okay, let's go to agenda item number 8, which is adjournment. Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of our agenda. We are adjourned at 8:13 p.m. I really love that digital clock up there. It really helps. Yes. No, but it wasn't my fault.
You were probably like, Peter.
It was not my fault. You can't pin this one on me.